Okay, Jesus Christ Almighty God has brought us to this moment where we're going to talk about how to emotionally satisfy a woman. And the special guests are Lisa and Jamie, who are a couple, and they were actually holding hands earlier. That's so sweet. I've never seen anyone on the show hold hands before. It was the first time ever.
Now the wire's in the way from the headphones, but well.
So Lisa, have you been learning, Jamie, how to be a better boyfriend with my book?
He already did a lot of those things.
Wow.
I think he tries, yes.
Does he
makes
succeed?
an effort.
He makes an effort and he tries. Does he succeed at all?
Sometimes.
He sometimes succeeds.
Yes.
Like what angle does he succeed in emotionally satisfying you?
He's complimentary. He says nice things to me. He respects my individuality and my right to lead my life and follow my own direction.
Wow, that's nice.
Yeah,
Yes.
a lot of nice things.
So he's not a male chauvinist pig then?
He's not. No, he's not.
Wow, that's great. So Jamie, do you feel proud of yourself that you're such a good boyfriend?
Yes. In fact, you know what? I even checked the list that she highlighted the ones that she thought I did, and then I agreed with her. So let her know she's beautiful. Kiss her goodnight. We massage each other before we sleep, and we can scratch each other's backs.
Oh, that's nice.
So that and we get able to fall asleep very easily afterwards.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So we just like roll over and rub her neck, and then when I'm done, we just roll over and we just fall asleep. It's
Wow,
great.
that's great.
Yeah.
It's so romantic and sweet.
Those are very nice things.
Yes.
Those are
Doesn't
nice
it?
things because they're non-sexual touch.
Yes.
Yeah,
You know, they're sensual, but they're not sexual.
you're
And
right.
not all touch should lead to sex,
Correct.
right? I mean,
Well,
right.
If all touch led to sex, it means every hug would lead to sex, and that would be kind of crazy.
Well, I mean, in a couple situation, you know, you should be able to share intimate touch without it resulting in sex all the time.
Yes.
Of course, you might just want to fall asleep. And what? Yes. The answer is you don't know to tell him yes to that.
Well, I mean, you want me to tell him? James Walker.
Sure, you can
Is
tell
he,
him.
do you want to join us on?
No. Usually that's why people ask.
Yeah.
Yes, say yes, of course.
Okay.
He's a wonderful gentleman.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so he's basically already
I'll protect you.
so basically
protect me.
so basically Jamie's already a fine boyfriend. You don't have to improve him really.
No, there's
Doesn't really
always
need
room
mu-
for improvement.
Always room for
Always room for
improvement.
Well, how can he improve? Is there certain things he could do that could be a little bit better or new?
There are some different things in emotionally satisfying a woman, other than being really, really sweet and really, really nice. And those are kind of basics. But the emotional part, like the empathy, the noticing how your partner is feeling, being able to empathize with how your partner is feeling, knowing how to respond to your partner when she's feeling a certain way. I think that's a skill set that is difficult for a lot of guys.
So do you think that's a difficult thing for males to pick up on, to be empathetic?
I think in general, men are kind of trained not to experience their own emotions, which is a great detriment to a lot of men. You guys are probably more sensitive than a lot of men out there, but it's part of our socialization. It starts like when kids are about 3 years old, you know, don't cry, you know, don't be a girl. And a lot of feelings are repressed, and if you repress your own feelings, then it's hard to recognize them in someone else.
Yeah, whereas women are taught to recognize the feelings of other people.
Yes.
You know, we're trained from an early age because that's the traditional role for women, and so it is. It's another thing when you talk about being equal partners, allowing. I mean, there are some women still that I know who do not like it when the men they're with show a lot of emotion.
Mm-hmm.
They think it shows weakness, and those people they were trained the same way we were, but they never evolved.
Mm-hmm.
So you gotta say, what do you want? You want a stoic guy who sucks it all up and doesn't explore the way he feels?
Yes.
You know, and that's a drawback. That is one of the things that keeps the sexes from being equal. It's not just equality for women; it's equality for men.
So, Lisa, we're not equal to women? We must be. Aren't we really, literally equal to women?
I'm not sure that equal is the correct word, but it's hard to be side by side when you have such divergent roles. And, women experience the world one way, and men experience it another way, and there are a set of behaviors that women are expected to follow, and men are expected to follow another one. Then it's difficult to connect. It could be called part of the patriarchy, and I almost don't want to say that word because it's implying a lot of stuff that we've moved beyond. But let's just say maybe these are nuances of patriarchy, and a nuance of patriarchy is that men will not experience their feelings, and they'll sort of be above all that. And women will be emotional, and they'll be the caregivers, and they'll be in service to the man. And that's not an equal. It's not good for a relationship. It's not good for men. It's not good for women.
You know, and in the last few years with all the struggles, health struggles that you've had, that whole idea of being vulnerable was tough for you. You'd actually say, I like it when I'm strong. I like it when I'm strong. I don't like being vulnerable. And you know how that opened up all of the floodgates of especially women friends feeling closer to you because of that vulnerability. And it's hard for men because they're trained to be tough, be the strong one, be the rock. I mean, you're still a rock for me, but when you were having your own issues, you didn't like that feeling of being vulnerable. It was hard for you. It's hard for men.
Jamie, is it hard for you to be vulnerable?
The way I was raised, I never remember my mom saying, stop crying. But I think I do remember saying, okay, you think you've cried enough already? Like, oh, okay, yeah, I think I have. So I was raised with 3 sisters. And I was able to show my emotions, and it was okay if I was emotional. And I was the one who ended up being the artist in the family. And then my sisters were one of them was the scientist. So not all the roles in my family fit. My sisters were better athletes than I was. So the women were written up in the Buffalo News for scoring the winning point in the game. And I'm there, writing poetry and making paintings, and everybody was okay with it. So a lot of the don't show your feelings. I mean, we'd go to high school musicals. I'd be there with my dad, and my dad would cry at the musical. And then I go to productions, and I cry too. And it's like, that's what we do. So
That was a lucky break for you.
I believe so.
It was a
Yes.
lucky break for you,
Yes.
too.
Yeah, maybe, Lisa, you're attracted to Jamie because he's such a sweet, sensitive man and not a male chauvinist pig.
It's part of it.
His sweetness is definitely attractive.
Yeah, that's nice. Joel,
Yeah.
just thought I'd say hi.
Joel, do you have anything to say about this part of the conversation so far, about the vulnerability and sweetness and all that stuff?
Honestly, I'm just enjoying what's being said. I'm just trying to absorb and enjoying, Greg's interactions with everyone, and just the kind of like you can look at it like it's like a case study, right? It's like a case presentation. That here we are with a couple with us, and we can kind of curiously explore the dynamic, and it's great. We can ask questions.
Yeah,
It's
because they're
live,
willing. Yeah, they're
it's
willing.
great.
They're willing to explore that.
Yeah, I mean, how would you two of you do Lisa on the Newlywed Show? Would you be able to? Do you know everything about him? Does he know everything about you? Are you intimate that way? Like you really know what makes him, what he likes and loves and hates?
I think we do pretty well on that game. Probably not perfectly, but
No, not perfectly, of course.
No.
That's an interesting question. I'm not sure. It would depend on if it was the big things or just random things.
Well, you just know the small things about him, or do you know the big things also?
I really know the big things. I might not know some random things.
What are the big things?
Whoa.
She ain't with it.
I wanted to say something. I never heard that term vulnerable, I think, until I was in my 30s or 40s. But what I heard was kind, reasonable, nice, and respectful. And those terms I got since I was born. But then, vulnerable. I'm,
It's just letting
Yeah.
it's just letting down your defenses. You can be nice and still have your defenses up.
But it's like feeling your feelings.
Feeling your feelings.
Yeah, I'm pretty good at that.
Well, that's
Yeah,
that's good because you obviously had parents that were ahead of their curve. Because most of the guys that were raised during the time that we were all raised were raised by parents who told them, "You're never going to have to do that. You're not going to have to do housework. Your wife's going to do it. Your wife's going to take care of all that. You don't worry about that." And they were raised by fathers who were kind of they'd go to work, they'd come home, they wouldn't be involved in their lives that much. It was the mother who was the alpha parent, right?
Right.
So, I do know some other people but those were weird people in my neighborhood. The fathers who would engage with their children were weird, we thought, because, the
wow.
fathers did not engage.
My father had a ticklish spot, and he'd lie on the couch, and all the kids would jump on the couch and find his ticklish spot and tickle him.
Oh, yeah,
And so-
we didn't do that.
So we had fun like that, and I incidentally have a ticklish spot in the exact same place as my father. So it's hereditary. And I had a grandmother who was wonderfully sweet, although she had an incredibly difficult life. And she was always joking and loved us and hugged us, and that was just the dynamic of the family.
So we
Pulled together because life is difficult.
We always wonder if we know somebody that grew up in a good house. We found one.
I didn't say it was perfect. No,
No,
there
it's
was a
not
lot of
perfect.
good things,
Yeah.
not perfect, but a lot of that part was we were loved and supported and encouraged and all of that, which is
It's awesome.
yeah,
that is
was
totally
awesome.
awesome.
That was awesome.
That's a great backstory. Good for you.
My when I wanted to become an artist, my mom was like, "We want you to go to college. I want to go to college. I want to study art. Go for it." I got a little bit of a scholarship my first year. A quarter of my tuition was paid, and boom, I was off, and total support from there on.
Great.
Lisa, the fact that you're a psychologist, does that help you in your relationship? Because you can delve inside his mind without really getting, you can actually see inside his mind and what he's up to.
I'm constantly trying to figure things out and trying to figure out how to make things better. I'm trying to figure myself out and how to make myself better. And I'm trying to figure out when he's not so good, why that's happening.
Oh.
And does that work for you? Do you find answers?
I think yes. I think there's an evolution, and I think we do better together than we did 15 years ago.
So
Well-
you've grown.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think we have helped each other get out of our complex trauma.
Yes. Yes.
Because we both had similar, kind of rocky childhoods, and so we understand and we can work together through those moments. Was your childhood?
Awful.
It was awful. Okay, that's probably why you became a psychologist.
That you have said that's one of the
Yes.
reasons. Yes.
Yes, I
Yeah.
think so.
I think
Yes.
my daughter became a social worker for the same reason. I carried even though I tried to correct mistakes my family made, I carried the trauma with me. It's hereditary. So she's a social worker. That's what happens.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, my mother had mental illness, and she committed suicide when I was 23.
oh my goodness.
My father was pretty absent and pretty angry, and not
It's
an
a
easy,
lot.
yeah, not an easy path.
No safe place to run to.
Yeah, I was the safe place.
Yeah, I know. I know. I'd say that I have the ability, and I even told the dentist this. I said, "Don't worry about it. You don't have to give me a shot because I can turn off the pain."
Oh, Wow.
You know,
Good
and
quality.
yeah, it's a good quality, but it came from a bad place. And it's a great. I mean, it's great. I pretend it's a nightmare until it's over, and then I can, you know. It's damage, and I tell people I'm not that sensitive, and it's because I'm damaged. It's not because I'm, you know, above it. I just
No, she's numb.
desensitized. Not completely.
She's completely numb. 100%. James, can you hear me?
Hi, James.
Can you hear me, James?
Hello, I can hear you.
Where are
Very
you?
good.
Were you in a car?
Yes?
Are you driving right now?
Yeah, I'm on my way there.
Oh, you're on your way here. Well,
Boy, you're very enthusiastic. Well, what would you tell this couple, Jamie and Lisa, how to improve their love life?
Well, I didn't hear enough. It sounds like they're doing okay to me.
yeah.
Exactly, they're doing
They are.
great,
They're
James.
doing
They
great.
don't need any help. There's a
It's
trick question. You've passed.
It's one of those situations, you know, looking around as a young woman, you know, in my teens, at people's marriages, I would say, I don't want that. I'm not going to go in that direction. That's not good for me. So, you know, you would be a good example. You two, you're a good example.
Well,
Pretty
wherever you come from, there are things to learn, and I think that is the partner you're likely to attract, the one who can help you learn those lessons. And they're usually kind of hard lessons. So, but what else is there?
You're
What
right.
else?
You're right. You're attracted to what you think is normal too, and until you can understand through evolution that that's not normal, you know, and try to find a partner who's willing to work. It's hard. Relationships are hard.
Oh yes,
They're
takes
not-
work.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Did the two of you ever think about not working on it and just giving up? Either of you think about giving up because it's such hard work, day after day, year after year.
See if what you see what you remember about this to answer this question. See if your answer is the same as mine.
Let's see. I don't think I feel like giving up because it's hard work. Sometimes I feel like giving up, but not because it's hard work.
And why do you feel like giving up then? If it's not because of the hard work aspect.
Sometimes it feels painful.
Sometimes a relationship feels painful.
Yeah.
Well, but isn't life itself painful? So of
Yes.
course the relationship will sometimes feel painful because it's a big part of your life.
Yeah.
Why was that what you're going to say, Jamie?
You were very upset and you tried to leave me twice. And one of them was on the phone. I don't know if we should carry on like this, carry on anymore. And then we got back together. And the other one, you were out in the driveway and you were like shouting in the driveway, "It's over," or whatever. "This is no more," or whatever. And I thought, "Oh my God, the neighbors are hearing this." And then you drove off, and then we got back together. So that was early in the relationship.
Well-
you got very upset, and I just very calmly said, "Okay, how can we work on this? Let's talk about it. I still want you."
Did that help you? The calmness of his response.
I could see that he was freaked out that I was yelling and that somebody
one,
might
yeah.
hear.
Yeah.
Because it was.
What helps is that he's unwavering and doesn't get mad and say, "Okay, that's enough of that. Yeah, go ahead, go."
Yeah.
That he
yeah.
always says, "Yes, I want you. We can work it out."
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
really
'cause
nice.
Stalwart.
I find that especially now that I'm working on I think the last part of my trauma response, which is that getting so like worked up that I can't control myself. When I would do that, Greg would always be calm, and it helped me not. It just helped me get through it, even though I felt guilty afterwards. You know, it would at least help me not to escalate anymore. You know, so, but it's you know, working through that last piece is hard. You know, to get yourself to stop yourself before you get to the crazy and say, why am I doing this? What's triggering me? What's going on? And then stopping and being able to talk yourself back. That's not
Not
easy. And it's not pretty, but it's better than the other stuff.
Yeah.
You know, but it is, and it's because I have a partner who is willing to, he's always been willing to work. Even when we were friends, I almost gave up on him a couple times, and he wouldn't let me.
There we go. Look at that.
Because he said, no, this is a friendship, we'll work on this, this is how this is done.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't let me, and so I worked, but generally, that was my mode of operation, you know. That's it, I'm done. Feeling abandonment problems, you know, and then saying, I'm going first. You're not going to abandon me, asshole. I'm going to go first.
Well, shoe on the other foot, Jamie, can
Yes.
Lisa improve in any way to emotionally satisfy you? More so? Or is she perfect already? Is she a perfect angel?
An angel, but not perfect. It would be more, I need a lot of help with things. I need to ask a lot of questions. I'm redesigning my garden, and Lisa knows a lot about gardening, and I'm still trying to figure out the difference between an annual and a perennial and things like that. So we need to work together on that. That's something I can learn from her. And you got frustrated because I threw out plants that were good and let things would die because I didn't water them because I thought it was going to rain and it didn't, and things like that. So
How are you saying I could improve?
how you could improve is to be aware that I need help with this stuff because I don't understand it as well.
No.
That's part of it. And
Yeah, I'm not willing to do that.
That's so
I think
honest.
patience is the piece he's talking about.
So you wanted to be more patient, Jamie, with how you act.
no, you're patient anyway. Lisa has skills that I don't have, and I might have some skills she doesn't have. And there's things that I just need help, and I have to ask for help for that.
May I say something?
Yes, go for it, baby.
Okay, it's okay.
Yes.
We don't live together. We have separate residences.
Mhm.
And I come in on the weekend and I spend time with him. And he comes to my house, but rarely. When I come in, he's very welcoming. I'm in his house, but it's his house. So for me to work on his garden, which I have done numerous times, but then he kills all the plants I put in his garden by not taking care of them.
Not all of them.
Turn off.
They're getting a little weak, but they're not dead yet.
So he does not come to my house and work on my garden. So no, I'm not willing to work on your garden.
How about
with
a
you.
nice list? Have you ever given him a list of things he must do with the flowers that you've planted? Like instructions. You must water them every day, or you must.
She'll say it verbally.
You need a
It's-
list.
It's not in writing, and then I go off or forget. And I said to her I would try to get, I didn't even know this existed until a few weeks ago. There is like this little computer you can screw into your faucet, and it will automatically open up and water it when you're gone. I didn't even know, because I could probably get that. And so I'm supposed to water every day at noon, program it the right way, and then the garden is watered.
Yeah,
Nice.
it's probably
Yeah.
not great to water at noon. It's probably better to wait till the sun is not directly on the plants. But I don't know.
I didn't know.
That's-
Well, is that
I
true?
think you're right.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's better to water when the sun's not directly on the plants because it burns them if you water.
Oh, it's like a person getting water on their
And
skin.
they
then
also
being
have
in
these
the sun.
things. You can take a bottle, like a wine bottle, and you can fill it with water, and you can put it in the ground, and it'll soak up on the plant. You can just do that. And
That's the stuff I know like nothing about. I've never heard of
YouTube,
that
man.
before.
You know about YouTube?
Yes, yes. And there's a lot of things I can pick up from YouTube, but gardening is I haven't.
Well, there's a
seen
lot
that
at
much yet.
issue here, which is like kind of a division of labor. And typically women are sort of in service to men.
Yes.
So when I would come to Buffalo, I could fix meals or do the dishes or do the gardening. But unless there's some kind of reciprocity, like meals are being fixed for me or someone's helping me in my garden, I'm kind of not inclined to do all of that. So,
Yeah, right.
Yeah, there needs to be give and
equality
take.
here,
Well-
and even Steven type
Oh,
of
what are you
thing.
doing?
Well, she'll cook and I'll do the dishes, and then the one morning I cook
Very-
breakfast, and I do those dishes
See-
when you're gone and you don't notice.
The-
more and more, I have been leaving the dishes. I used
Yes,
to
and
do
which
them
is
all,
fine.
but
There,
not-
yeah,
Yes,
there's
now
that's
it's
fine.
just like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm not doing
when
them.
two people, this is what I tell all young women that I meet that are, I mean, you know, because you've already lived a life and
Yes,
you
I have.
understand. But younger women, I say, okay, if you both work full time
Mm-hmm.
and you have a house to take care of, when your husband does something, he's not helping you. He's doing his part.
Right.
There's a difference.
Yes.
You don't say, oh, well, he helps me. No, you're working full time and he's working full time. There's a division of labor that comes into that as well. He's doing his part, and if he's not doing his part, you're doing two jobs. you
Right,
know,
right.
you're a full time housekeeper, and you're doing your job, and that's not acceptable. So,
Right.
so that's something that has to be negotiated and
Right.
talked about.
Right, so she'll be cooking the breakfast, and I will set the table and bring the dishes back and rinse them, and you usually do the.
You have
the
learned.
rinsing.
You
Yeah,
have learned.
yeah.
He lived alone. He's never been married. And I would fix breakfast, and he would go to the drawer and get his fork.
And I would forget to get a fork
fork.
because I'm so used to
Put it on
getting
the table.
spending like 40 years getting only one fork, and then you got really mad at
You
me
know
two or
what?
three
I
times.
would get
and now I get out the
really
extra
angry
cups and the
about that.
forks.
It is
and
because he
all of
was
that.
never married before.
I
And
understand
yeah,
that. Yes,
yeah.
yes.
And that's funny though
I
because
know it's funny.
but it's not.
But getting mad got the because she would tell me and I would know it and I would forget again.
Right.
And then she got mad
you
and
were
then
just
it's-
used. So okay.
Yeah.
So the thing is, it's good though that he was at least used to taking care of himself.
Yes.
Because there's a lot of men who come out of marriages who are not used to taking care of themselves, and they just do believe that it's your job, and those are the ones you just say no. It's no. Next.
Right.
And it's an interesting part of the female programming is that if I say no and won't do those things, I'll feel uncomfortable. I'll feel like I'm being a bad person.
Yeah.
But if I do it, then I'll feel resentful.
Yes.
And that's even worse.
No, resentful
but-
will end the relationship.
Right. How did it feel when you said, "I'm not going to dig this stuff up. You hire a landscaping company to do it," and I did it, and I did that.
Yeah,
So that
that felt
did
good.
did that feel good?
Uh-huh.
Because it made me feel good too.
Good?
Yeah.
Well, because you had agency in that situation. Both people have to have agency in their relationship to their life. You can't. Yeah. So, yeah, I can see now that this is an interesting study because, a lot of times people that have lived alone and haven't had a marriage, you do develop, you're set in your ways, and it's hard to unset at a certain age. It's harder to unset, but he's got lots of potential.
Thank you.
You can still hit the high spot eventually.
Yeah.
James, isn't it nice to see a happy, loving couple on this show?
Hey, hi James.
What do you think?
There's
about
always a happy, loving couple.
Yeah.
on
That's
this
right, me and Paula.
Yes.
Good point, James. You are correct, sir.
Yeah, we've got quite a crowd today.
So, Kenny, tell James about your concept about sexual relationships. Tell James. He wants to hear
Oh, I'd
about it.
like to hear that too.
No,
Jane would like to hear about
this
it.
is actually an
Joel would
interesting
like to hear
story.
about it.
The concept.
And Lisa would like to hear about it.
It's an interesting story, actually.
One of my friends on Facebook posted something about how relationships always last like 10 years, 15 years. It doesn't go anywhere, and then they break up. So I went on Facebook, and I put on there first, a man knows if he loves you. A man knows if he loves a woman before they're even intimate with one another, and tells her he loves her within 3 months, tops. I mean, that's the way it is with me. Second, a man is always the first one. Oh, now it goes out. The man is always the first one to tell the woman he loves her, not the woman. She's not the one supposed to be the first one to say it. It's supposed to be the guy. Third, after 6 months, you should be planning your wedding for the following year. If you have sex first and then you get into a relationship, what you now have is a sexual relationship, not a real relationship with love and all that other stuff that the woman's looking for. It's sexual. Yeah, not a normal where you are going to live happily ever after. If he doesn't tell you he loves you in 3 months, kick him to the curb. Don't be strung along for years on end. And very, very, very importantly, never, ever tell a man you love him first.
Well, why is the man
Period.
supposed to be the one to say "I love you" first? Why is that your rule?
Just is.
It's your rule.
Oh, it's just the way it should be.
But why should it be that way?
I don't know. It's just the way it should be.
It's just like it's
Shit.
natural. It's natural for the man to. James, is that true? The man should say "I love you" first.
No.
He ain't gonna.
Oh, it
do
can go
Oh,
either
he's
way,
not
right?
going to agree
No,
with
no.
that.
It can go either way, right?
No, it ain't gonna
He's
go
gonna
either way. He's gonna wait for her to tell him she loves him, and then he'll say, "Oh yeah, I love her."
Is that true, James? You're gonna wait till she tells you, and then you say "I love you" back, baby.
No.
Okay, so it could go either way. It could be either person could say "I love you" first, right?
Correct.
Yeah, I don't know where Kenny's getting this hard and fast rule.
Well, I think that's because women seem to get emotionally involved faster than men.
Well, Lisa, do you think that it should be the man who says "I love you" first? That should be a rule like that, or shouldn't it be either sex can do it first?
What do you think? I think.
I think you think it can be either the man or the woman.
Wow, that was
right?
a psychology
the
thing.
man or the woman, right?
Who said I love you first in our relationship?
It seems as though we said it on the same day. We were just kind of
The
looking
same-
at
That's
each other.
that's what I think so.
We were
too,
looking
yes.
at each other
Wow.
in
I love
the
you. I love you
car
too.
lovingly.
Yes, and yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
Good.
That was nice.
Joel, what do you think? Man or woman first? Does it matter?
I think it's contextual. Depends upon the dynamic of the relationship.
So it could be either man or woman. It's not a man like Kenny's so obstinately declaring.
I think it's different for everybody. For Kenny, it's cool that that's for Kenny, but for me, it's something else. You know.
Yeah, it could be either way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it could go either way.
So is it scary then to be vulnerable like that and put that information out there and not hear it back, James?
Was it scary for you,
Gee,
James?
thanks.
No, I mean for guys. I'm using
You're a guy.
Here's what you're not. Your question is a question that only a woman would ask.
Yeah.
A guy's life is rejection, so we're used to it. Is it something that we enjoy? No. Is it something that when it happens, we're like, okay, that's fine? No. It's like being literally shot through the heart in your two play. But see, the thing about that is people don't really have consideration for the guy's emotions on that kind of thing. Everybody talks about how, a woman doesn't owe you anything, and care and empathy is certainly on that list of what she doesn't owe you. So, yeah.
in a relationship that should be.
But you haven't established a relationship yet. If you're just saying I love you, then you're trying to establish a relationship.
Oh, I don't agree with that. I think that
You don't know what your relationship is yet if it's the first time you're saying it.
Well, no, because
I'm not saying it before the relationship.
I'm going to feel
when you're in it.
I want to get close to somebody before I start saying I love you.
Certainly, but in the space of 3 months, do you really know that you have a relationship, or are you just two people who meet up every Saturday?
For sex?
Because early,
Or just going to the movies and getting a free dinner for her? It could be anything.
Yeah, I guess I haven't really had dating experiences like that mostly.
I know a particular situation where this woman would at least acknowledge this guy as her official boyfriend. But their entire relationship was whatever concert was in town, he bought tickets, took her to the show, spent money for her to have the dinner, the concert, the T-shirts, et cetera, and maybe she spent the night of the concert. But that doesn't mean they did anything. And one day he asked her about just hanging out for the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, what? You're not going anywhere? You're not doing anything?
Yeah, well,
And he
that's
finally said to her, I think you like the benefits of being my girlfriend, but you don't actually want to be my girlfriend.
yeah, that's true. That
Yeah, I
is,
mean, don't you think, Lisa, that it should be about communication and talking to each other, and not about what you're doing, where you're going?
Different people have different relationships, but I would certainly prefer a relationship where there was communication.
Yeah.
Based on communication and empathy for each other, and not just what you're doing, where you're going.
Oh, although going fun places is wonderful.
I'm saying that should be like the
plus.
frosting on the
Yeah.
a
Yes,
plus.
that's part of the package.
it's just enjoying being together and doing things together. It's not it shouldn't be the catalyst for seeing that.
And this is my point. The guy thought he was in a relationship. He didn't understand that he was the equivalent of a friend with benefits.
Yeah, that's bad. You wanna
Benefits
be
being
in a-
concerts, right? Yeah.
You want to be in a situation where you and the woman can communicate and talk to each other and just spend time together without doing anything special, and everything else, and the other stuff will be a plus, like we just talked about. Right, Joel?
Well, it's funny because I was just thinking about this great teaching that I had heard, actually a man instilled to his son about intimacy, and he said, when two people lay together in intimacy, they become one another's equals. And when you think about that, people approach sex and intimacy for all different kinds of reasons: to conquer, to bring themselves good feelings, to say I did this, or to work through emotional trauma. But the foundation of that is that once you do that, you two are on the same level in a fundamental way, and that can be very confusing for both parties if it's not that way without sex. Like, sex is the equalizer. It's not that way. So now you have this equalizing act, intimacy, but the dynamic doesn't match that, so it ends very quickly.
Right.
So what the father was basically saying is that you should try to work toward that equal partnership thing before getting into the sexual intimacy.
Yeah, well, I think men in general, there's this tendency biologically, so we're socialized a certain way. There's also tremendous loneliness as an American man, where you're not supported, understood, validated, or considered unless you're doing certain things. And so that, to alleviate that loneliness, sometimes sex becomes a way to alleviate the loneliness. And so
That's true for women too.
yeah, that's true. It's true for both, but men need, I think both parties need to realize that taking care with that intention and act is vital, because you're unlocking what I understand is the crown jewel of the human experience. It's the greatest gift we've been given.
That's what it should be.
And
Yeah.
so when you're given this gift and then you're going to utilize it or use it in ways that are not the way it was meant, it's like you pay for that. There's a suffering for that when you don't honor the gift in the way that it was meant.
I think that's kind of how you feel. Basically, yeah.
And Lisa, do you think you agree with my cliche feeling that you should really ease into the relationship? You should try to not jump into sex and really love the person first before you move to the intimacy, sexual intimacy.
It seems like that is a great idea. I don't think I've ever done that, but it seems like
But it's a great idea. It's a great thing for me to propose in the book.
Yeah.
Because I really think that's the way to go. I mean, right, James?
Don't ask me on that. Unless you just want the contrary opinion.
I want the contrary opinion. You don't agree with that? That you should ease into get to know each other on just a talking level for a long, long time before any sexual thing happens. You don't agree with that?
I think that that's a nice option, and some people actually do that.
Right.
However, in our world today, most people don't have the luxury of doing that. If you think of it like a salesman, car salesmen have what they call ups. So they have an order, a batting order, and as people walk in the door, well, it's now this person's up, that person's up, whatever. You don't have the luxury of saying, well, if I don't believe that this person is the right person, I shouldn't try to give the pitch because, there are things that are just not right yet. I'm going to wait for the person who walks in the door and says to me, this is the one I want to do stuff with. So you basically meet people where they are and work as best you can to make something happen.
Well, I'm just saying that my point of view is that men are horny animals, and and if they could control themselves a little bit better and say to the woman they're starting to date, let's not be physical at all at the beginning. Let's really get to know each other for a while and see if we're compatible psychologically and socially and emotionally and spiritually before we take the plunge into sex.
Because women are never horny.
No,
I'm not saying women are. I'm saying
sex complicates.
I'm not saying women are never horny. I'm saying that I've met more women who said that would be a nice idea to go for, and less men who've said it's a nice idea to go for. To spend months getting to know each other first.
You don't know how many women have broken up with me for not having sex with them as soon as they wanted to.
So you kind of agree with me in a way, then, because you tried it yourself, but then the women were damn horny animals themselves, and they ruined it.
But I mean, if you're entering into, if you're breaking up with someone because they're not going to have sex with you,
there's not real love there.
what kind of relationship is that?
That's what Kenny says.
I mean, it plays itself out right there. Now you know. You know what I mean? But I had a friend who theoretically he wanted to get to know the person he would be dating for about 6 months and just do different things like hike and just develop like a real friendship and then test the waters. And I think that that's theoretical. I don't think that that's as practical in America today, but it's certainly something to shoot for, because if you are healthy and you're not driven by your urges, but you're really looking for a long-term, mutual, respectful partnership, it's a beautiful intention, I think.
Yeah, even Lisa agrees that it's a good
I think
idea.
it's a great
idea, great
yeah.
concept. If it only can be executed by people.
Yeah.
If only do you think men can execute this plan at all? Lisa?
You know what the problem with
I
what
think
you're
it's hard for men and women.
I think it,
For both sexes.
yeah, I
Yes.
do.
because the idea of being desired is very powerful. It's a
Right.
very powerful
Yes,
thing.
yes.
And the thing is, if it's too soon in the relationship, it can mess up that ability to bond, because once you've done that with someone,
It's a different situation.
you're so worried about losing that if it was good,
Right.
that you pretend to be somebody else sometimes.
Right.
You don't act like yourself. You're putting your best foot forward, but to a really bad place. Not just your best foot, but you're acting like somebody else to please that person.
Right. Sorry to cut you off, James. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say, you know what the problem with that is? The fact that sex is an opportunistic kind of thing. And if you tell somebody, I want to be in a relationship with you, but for the first 6 months, you're not getting any.
You
No.
don't phrase it like that.
Well,
You wouldn't say it like that, but that's the point. So, what happens there is this person has to confront the idea, do I care enough about this person to go sexless until this person decides, or we both decide together, that now is the time? Now, this is a different proposition for men and women, because when it comes to sex, women are ripe with opportunities. They know that they know that they know that they can have sex sometime this month if they want to. Guys, on the other hand, don't know if they're ever going to have sex again, which is really disturbing if you haven't had sex yet. And if you really got a problem with that statement, ask all the guys who are sexless while married to somebody who said
that's
that she
bad.
was going to have sex with them.
Yeah, that's bad.
Is this true? Have you found this to be true that women can eat more easily, have sex, and men can't?
I think that's how our culture works,
Yeah.
right?
Right. So does that mean that are women less horny overall? Because if they were as horny as men, would they all be having sex with men, and men would be having sex with them?
I don't know if that's something that's socialized or something that's biological. I
Something
think
could be
general-
I mean, generally speaking, Lisa, what do you think are the elements that draw women to intimacy and men to intimacy? Are they different?
That's hard for me because I feel as though desire has been something for me that has kept me in the game. And I don't think that that's necessarily true for all women.
Right, but I'm talking about the mechanism. So, like, if a woman feels secure and safe and emotionally connected, and then there's the physical attraction, there's a much greater likelihood for men if a woman appears a certain way or provides certain kinds of physical aspects. So it's physical for men, not totally, but there's a tendency or a trend. For men, it's physical. For women, it's emotional, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think you're talking about maybe people from an older generation. I don't think young people always feel that way, and I think it depends somewhat on whether or not someone is looking for a marriage partner or to have children.
Yeah.
Because then they would definitely
Mm-hmm.
be looking for someone who's safe and consistent.
Yeah.
But if they're looking for a good time, then they would not necessarily be looking for those things.
Yeah, hence
Right.
Tinder. I mean, let's face it, that's what that's all about. Just, it's picking somebody. It's like kind of the grocery list of male and female partners
Right.
that people aren't, and that's kind of that says a lot about our society right now. People are detached, but it's not something that I would be comfortable, like meeting a stranger for the first time and just having sex. I don't think I'd be comfortable with that. I mean, but I'm not from this generation that's coming up
Right.
now. So there's a difference.
I wanted to add, I heard the saying, women can have sex whenever they want, men have sex whenever they can.
Ha!
Right.
Yeah.
And that I think that kind of sums it up. I knew women that were so beautiful, they would walk down the street and men would ask them for dates. And actually dated a couple of
But
women.
there were no
who were like
men that were so beautiful that they walked down the street and women asked them for dates.
I don't know. Are there men like that? I've never.
Well,
Women don't ask for
women are
dates.
always looked at. Men are kind of invisible, which is great. But as a woman, as a young woman especially, when you walk down the street, you are aware of being watched all the time.
I believe that, yes.
Yeah. So for men, the experience is different.
Yes.
Rarely will a woman walk up to you unless there's, I don't know. I can't imagine. Do women walk up to men in bars and say, "I want to have sex with you"? I mean, I know men do it. I've had men say it to me.
But did women, James?
There are
Happened to me.
some, but it's generally a situational kind of thing.
Yeah.
Anything from she's pledging a sorority, and that's the thing they're telling her to do as a
Yeah.
hazing, or
Wow.
she's
Really?
in a bar, sees a particular guy, and whatever information she knows about this guy makes her say, "This is my opportunity." In fact, there's a movie called Transamerica that has this scene. I always end up explaining it to people when they watch the film. They stop off in this little nothing bar restaurant in Arkansas, and the 17-year-old boy starts playing a video game, and this girl walks into the frame, looks him up and down, walks up to him, pulls the lollipop out of his mouth, and starts sticking her tongue in his mouth, down his throat, making out with him from nowhere. His mother is on the phone and notices this action going on. Keep in mind, we just pulled off the road. We've never been here before. And there's my son snogging with this random chick.
Snogging.
She
British term.
Yeah, I know.
she says to the person on the phone, hold on a second. And she says, excuse me, would you like to introduce me to your new friend? And of course, he doesn't know who the hell she is. So he's like, and she says, he says, this is, and the girl says, Taylor. And he's like, yeah, well, Taylor, you be careful you don't ruin some boy's life. And her father walks in and says, what are you doing? Get in the car. You make sure this boy doesn't ruin some girl's life. And people are just like, what the hell just happened? And I'm like, I've lived in Arkansas. I can translate this scene to you. The girl walked out of the restroom, saw a boy about her age playing a video game who she does not know, which means he's not related to me. He probably just got here because the town is so damn small. I know everybody. So I got to get my hands on him before some other bitch gets her hooks into him.
Talk about cynical.
There's no more clock, Tom.
We lost our clock, Tom.
There's no clock anymore.
I think we did have some time left.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
have
we have
like
some time left, but I don't know how
8
much time
minutes
is
or
left.
something. I don't know what happened to our clock. But
So, are you, Lisa? Do you consider yourself the best couple on the planet, the most together?
Okay,
the most,
thank you.
Not at all.
Do you consider yourself the second best couple on the planet? The most,
I don't believe so, but thank you. If you,
It's the best of my life. So
well,
that's
thank
good.
you.
Wow,
Thank
that
you.
is so sweet.
Yay.
That is very sweet. Jim.
Well, the fact that you guys are working on a relationship and you both know that
years into it, and we're
it's
still
good.
working on it.
that's good.
Communication is the
we
key.
stopped working on our relationship.
Oh, that's
It's
not
true, right, Paul? Because we're already at 100%.
No, how about today?
But that was not a relationship.
No,
that
it
was
wasn't.
You freaking
but
out.
but it could play.
that had
into
nothing to do with our relationship, did it?
Because you could get upset with me when I
Do I ever?
never.
Well, if I don't ever, then I think I proved my point.
Well,
Give me a hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
It's like a fight in the car.
no, it's not a fight.
Could I just say?
Joel, can you say something?
Yeah, I
Go
just want
ahead.
to say, like, it's very interesting to me, Greg, how for many years you had the Greg Sterle show on public access, and
Correct.
that was one thing, and entertaining and interesting, and people learned a lot of
Obnoxious.
stuff.
Really?
Definitely very obnoxious.
Right.
I can attest to your obnoxiousness on that show.
Right.
But this show, wow! It's when I think about coming on or
Tame.
the content here, it's important. It's important, and how you manage this is important, and what you're doing is important. It has value for people. I think I have some friends tuning in. I just feel like they see this as very women friends see this as very valuable, very important, because many of them don't feel emotionally understood, supported, and nurtured
Or satisfied.
or satisfied. Yeah.
And it's just
So
true-
I just want to say thank you for this whole idea, which is so important.
Well,
thanks, Joel.
Yes.
I'm trying
That's
to change the
I'm
world a
glad.
little bit.
He's
And
got
I'm
this
already
thing
helping
now
Lisa
where,
and Jamie
yeah.
because they're using my book as a little bit of a tool to help help. They're already working on a relationship all the time, but they're using it also as a tool a little bit, which is nice.
Well, just looking at your friendships, your friendships with women,
Yeah.
and the fact, like I said, the couple times when I just told you I'm out of here, and you made me sit there and work on it with you.
all right.
That would have been the end if I would have just walked away. So it's good. It's good to have somebody who says, no, this is worth working on. That's the whole thing. Because
Well, Jamie did
in
it
most
with-
cases, you feel like the man doesn't feel like it's worth working on.
But Jamie did.
I
They
know.
discussed
Yeah, yeah.
earlier
But
about
that's
how-
why I'm saying I'm directing it toward the two of them because
Yeah.
they're both saying this is something that's worth working on. That's awesome.
If you want, Lisa and Jamie, we can have James Walker come to your house, like your house in North Buffalo, Jamie, and guide the two of you for a price. So he can guide you, do a little boyfriend-girlfriend counseling. Correct, James?
I don't think they need my
He hasn't branched.
That's twice you said how great the relationship seemed from close by.
He hasn't branched out yet.
Here's the thing. It works if you're willing to work.
Exactly.
And what I have seen is that women frequently are too quick to say, throw the baby out with the bathwater, and besides, something new will at least be different. There'll be different things to argue about. And that's interesting and sexy. Guys, on the other hand, are saying, I'd be willing to do something if there was something to do. But no matter what I do, she's still mad. So I throw my hands up in the air.
Yeah, that's a drag if that
Yeah,
happens.
that I've heard that before.
Did you ever notice that sometimes women want you to read their minds, Jamie?
a little bit of that.
Does Lisa ever want you to read her mind?
As he's doing right now.
Pause right there.
See, right now,
I have to think about
both
that.
Howard Stern and Greg Sterling are trying to get into heaven by erasing their back
we
catalog.
both changed. Our back catalog doesn't exist.
I had a friend of mine
Thanks to you, James.
that he said, my wife is getting mad at me even when I agree with her.
Right.
And he
That's-
mentioned that to me, and I said, I really don't know what to do about that. And they ended up breaking up anyway. It wasn't a healthy relationship.
Yeah.
and he
Well, our
went on to
friend
something better.
James
so.
Prey, the great James Prey, the late great James Prey, God rest in peace. He said that he thinks, I don't know if he came up with it himself, but he thinks that the reason women sometimes in relationships want the man that they're with to read their mind is because they get, if in a good situation, they get great brothers and especially a great father and great grandfather, especially a great father, to know what they want and know what they're thinking because they've spent so much time with them and they've seen so many aspects of it and they really can read them. And then they go into a relationship and think, well, this man will be the same way. He'll read my mind like my father does. But his father has 20 years of,
That's a good point. But the thing is, I think there's a lot of women out there who just expect men to read their mind. I remember when it first occurred to me. I don't know if an older woman or somebody told me, you got to tell them. They don't think like women. You got to tell them.
You're right.
And so the thing is, and that's when I started doing 10 shopping days till Paula's birthday. 9 shopping days till Paula's birthday. Because this way I'm not disappointed. The guy knows it's my birthday. Secondly, and there's communication. And the same thing with, I am feeling badly, but you said something earlier, but I'm not going to tell you what you said. That makes no sense. I want you to understand that when you say this, it triggers me because it makes me feel like this.
But if he loved me, he'd know.
Yeah, but that's bullshit.
No, it's true. I've told Lisa, I said, don't give me hints. Don't allude to it. Just come right out and say it because sometimes I'm just not going to get it. Would you just say it directly? Don't ever do that again.
so
Okay, I got it.
Are you direct with Jamie and Lisa to
Sometimes,
get him
absolutely.
get him in line?
Yeah.
Keep him in line.
I think it's a job to become direct. I think sometimes
It's hard.
Yes. First of all, historically, women have not been supposed to speak up, but also to know what you want, to be able to put it into words, what would feel good, to be able to say it, to have the confidence that the person isn't going to freak out because you're saying, I want this. Because really, in a lot of circles, it's not acceptable for women to say, this is what I'd like from you. And then the man has to be able to be responsive if he wants to. So there are some steps in that.
If I may interject on that just a second.
Okay.
I think part of the problem is that women want men to guess what they want because they don't even know what they want.
Well, that would be sort of
Oh.
implicit in what I said.
That's kind of
it's-
valid.
That it's a lot of work to actually figure out and put into words what it is that would feel good.
But there's also a resonance between very special relationships that I think women tend to see the very, very long term. And in relationship, they're looking for the very, very long term that does not end. And so when you look at that, you look at like, if this person is vibrating with me, resonating with me in ways that are understood, it's not that they read my mind, there's a compliment that is unspoken. And I think women often test that either knowingly or unknowingly
7 seconds, Joel.
because what they
6.
want is forever.
Well, thanks, Jamie and Lisa, for being a great couple. And thanks for all the gang.
Oh, and thanks
Bye.
for coming.
Thanks for writing the book.
Yes.